You are going to predict the future as far as tomorrow, because I hear music, I see laughing, I see food, beverages, and I see Webster, and I see Dan Warner sitting next to me. How are you? Who can pull off horizontal stripes? Boy, you tick me off. How are you?
I'm great, John.
Yeah?
Yeah, when they asked if I'd like to go on with John, I said, "Are you kidding me? You and I have gone back a few years. I've always felt comfortable talking to you. I feel like we're pretty much the same age."
I've heard you on every other show here. I'm like the last one.
Oh, no, I've been on your show too. And I do come around about once a year.
Well, we stopped this festival thing for a while.
That was the
Super
hardest part
Spreader
of this.
Music Fest.
I was just speaking to somebody, and I said, it was hard for us to get restarted this year because 2 years we've done it. We had to stop. We were well into it, both 20 and 21,
Right.
and then things got worse, and we said, well, we just can't hold it. So this year we never had a thought of that, except that it just didn't feel like it was still going to go through until about a month ago, and then we got really serious about it because it was coming. But I think I've gone to some other festivals this year and things around town for this year, and you see people are out in bigger numbers than they were before.
Sure.
And this is because they realize these things have been missed.
And I think the guard gets let down a little more when you're doing something outside.
I think so too. That was my theory actually last year. I thought we'd still hold it.
Right.
But the committee met and thought it was just safer.
Yeah.
So, but this year I didn't feel any point we were not going to go forward. But it's still hard to get restarted. The thing is, it's going to be better than ever. John, this is our 20th. That's a pretty big number.
I would have guessed older, honestly.
Yeah, it would be 22 because we didn't count the 2
Right.
years we didn't hold it. So it has been 22 years since our first.
Was it always jazz and blues, or wasn't it just jazz in the beginning?
You remember it precisely. It began as a one afternoon event. It was called the Old Webster Jazz Festival. And I and another guy, a couple guys in the record store, really, it came out of our record store, Webster
Right.
Records. And we had gone to Davenport, Iowa, and saw a traditional jazz festival. It was a 3-day festival.
Mhm.
And folks were just having a blast. And it's about celebrating that genre of jazz, So really our first festival was really more of a traditional jazz or Dixieland jazz festival. And we had a good turnout.
Sure.
And it cost us almost nothing, And so we came back, we said, let's do that again next year. That was a good time. And somewhere along the way, Johnny Johnson's name got mentioned. I had a little record label back in the Webster Records days called Gaslight Records.
Mhm.
And one of my dreams, I recorded Ralph Sutton. You might know that name. He's a
Sure.
jazz piano player,
Yeah.
stride. And I thought, boy, I'd love to record Johnny Johnson. And at the time, he hadn't had any records in almost 10 years. And so I reached out to him and asked him first about recording to his agent. And then I got through a roundabout way to his wife, Frances. And then I mentioned...
She was the boss. So you get through to Frances, you're good.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And so Frances said, yeah, I think we could do something, but it's going to be a few years. He's got a recording lined up with Paul McCartney, and that has to happen first. I said, okay, I'll let that one happen. I get it. But then I go, does Johnny ever play locally? I don't see him. She goes, oh, she plays occasionally out, but not much.
Right.
I said, well, do you think he'd want to play our jazz festival in Webster? She goes, I think he would. I just threw that in. I
Right.
just thought maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
There was a way to keep the conversation going. And he did. He played that first year, and we went from, maybe 1,000 to like 2,500. That's a pretty good number jump. And then we went to 5,000. And he played the third time, and it was 10,000. And I remember having like a group huddle among the committee members at about midnight after that second one probably. And we just couldn't believe we were able to pull this off.
Yeah.
And Johnny built our festival because the credibility he brought made almost every musician in St. Louis want to play.
And you had to each year you had to block off a little more of the street,
Yes.
a little more of the street, a little more of the
Year
street.
one was only one street.
Yeah.
And then and that's when we changed it to Old Webster Jazz and Blues Festival because Johnny wasn't just jazz.
Right.
In fact, he loved jazz. But, he's known for his blues.
But that opened you up to a whole genre of artists.
It
There's
did.
some great blues players in
It did.
town.
And truthfully, blues music has a bigger following than just straight jazz. And if you mix the two together, I feel it's the best.